Okay.
Sorry, y'all. Listen, Miss Xfinity, we're gonna have a little discussion. Okay. I swear we're gonna have a discussion with Xfinity. I'm so tired of them right now. Y'all have no idea. All right. Tara is missing. Where's Tara? Sorry, y'all. So sorry. Just gotta wait for Tara.
I think Quilla was laughing. Do you see her message in there? I can just see her saying,
Because I
"This is not
literally
funny."
snatched the things. I was like, my fucking Lanta. Shit. God, dog, it's like as much as I don't went through just to get the shit, then you give me a whole new modem and now the shit is still fucked up. Give me a break.
I've had no problem since I've updated. I went to a terabyte.
I have no idea. Where is Tara?
I don't know. You said it might be a few minutes. Maybe she went to use the restroom. Or maybe they're talking on the phone. I don't know.
Well, Albert's here.
Is he though? He's
Oh, we don't see his face.
he's muted and we don't see his face.
Oh, I swear, as much money as I pay Xfinity, they ought to be ashamed of themselves.
Welcome back, Albert.
All right.
Sorry about that. I have a service out here that it's just it gives me the blues. Where is my remote?
Sure. Just when Albert said something, I'm like, yeah,
I
that's what I
know.
was talking about.
What was I talking about?
When you're talking about
masculine and feminine at the same time.
Yeah, that part.
that the delivery, right? How it's
Yes.
conveyed.
The
No,
undertone.
how Tara
The
uses
undertone,
yeah, so how she uses the masculine to sway him but still operate in the feminine. That's what we
Well,
were
you
talking
saw the
about.
look that she gave, right? She was like,
Like, excuse
if
me?
that wasn't like, there you
You know,
go.
because in that moment, it's like, what it brings me back to actually, like the first time it happened, it reverted me back to when we were younger and we were together. And she was kind of like that then. So when she would come to me and pose a question to me about something she wanted, it would be asking, but it would be the undertone, like command and demand.
Kind of like asking you but telling you at the same time.
Yeah.
Now that
Yeah,
makes sense. Okay, so
Yeah.
the masculine is telling and then the feminine is asking.
Kind of like, I'd like you to do that for me. Right?
but you have, yeah, but you don't have a choice.
Right. by by 12:05 p.m.
You need to be doing A, B, C, and D.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that would make me so happy if you did that. I get
Yes,
it.
that is a masculine thing.
Okay.
It's like that's what I was kind of like.
That makes sense now.
You know, it's like when you're talking to your kids and saying, "You would like to do that, right?" Mm-hmm. Yep. Go do it,
Now,
right?
That makes sense.
now I want to touch on something real quick. Just be bothering me. So, God meets a woman, they chopping it up, whatever, whatever, whatever. And then there comes a part in the relationship where he might have been through some things, Um, I don't like how
Oh, you muted. Oh, no, no. Okay, go ahead.
I don't like how men use uh what they've been through in life as an excuse.
Ah,
That's what I was talking about.
that part, Albert. We don't like it either.
Now, let me explain something to y'all.
Yeah, I had a man like that, but he was an
Trauma
excuse. He was an excuse. He was a sorry excuse, but go ahead.
bond.
I take offense to that when guys do that because that's also a reflection on all of the other men that been through what you've been through, or maybe more, or even was even less. They still been through something, you know. And for the guy like me that's out here doing anything at all costs, you know what I'm saying, to protect the image the good image that I built of myself, you just making me look crazy. You know what I'm saying? There is no excuse. There is no excuse why you can't hold a job, but you want to call yourself a man.
Oof, my God, preach this today.
So, and whatever, it's just like when we was on the block. When we was on the block, we was doing this, we was doing that, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? What you put all your energy into that. You know what I'm saying? You can stay up for 3 and 4 days straight hustling. You know what I'm saying? You could do that. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? That kills you mentally, physically, emotionally. That just kills you. You know what I'm saying? But you can't get a job because of what? What you mean? Wait a minute, you was down in prison, right? Yeah. All right. Well, when you was down in prison, you was working for $1 a day.
Ooh. Hard, working hard for that $1 a day too.
Yeah, you going to work for 8 hours. But you talking about you can't do it because of what? You need to get out of here. If anything, when you go through what you go through as a man, if it was that deep, you have to find the know-how to turn that negative thing that happened in your life as a stepping stone for the positive things that you're about to embark on. And then you got the guys that, well, I ain't working there, they don't pay enough. All right, well, if they don't pay enough, then you get a second job to go with it then.
Right.
I'm gonna be up too long.
You know, I like a man that works.
I'm gonna be tired.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
So,
what's up.
and,
Can't be broke with me.
You can't get caught up in titles and this, that, and the third, or whatever. Unless you got your own company, you work for yourself. Which when you have your own company, you're working for yourself. You're still working for the government because you got to pay taxes. So you're
Yeah.
still working for someone. You know what I'm saying? But within it though, you got your own company. Okay, you can set your own hours. Go to work. You want to go to work. Whatever. Unless you got that, you need to you got to up the ante. And
Yeah.
this is how I approach life every single day. I approach life like it is literally my last day. I try to use every second of the day to my advantage. Now think about this. Ponder on this right here. I believe it's like 84,000 seconds in a day. All it takes is 60 seconds to make a wrong decision. So you can't let that 60 seconds blow the other 8,000, 84,000, whatever, 83,000, whatever it is. You can't do that. You got to pick it up. You got to keep moving. You can never look for the excuse because the excuse will always be there.
Right. So when you're thinking about being in that relationship and making that 60-second decision. So let's talk about like communication. One of the things I know that we as women, we love to communicate because as you can see, we're here, right? When you think about a man in communication, what I have found is there are a lot of men who don't initiate the initial communication. Like if you say you like me, like Quilla said, if you say you like me, then show me that. And some actions meaning that you call, check on me, see about me, see do I need anything, just to call, just to tell me I just wanted to hear your voice today. what is one of the things that you find, Albert, that hinders a man from actually moving into that realm of communication to say, hey, because I know that you do it for Tara. And so what I have found is, like, I have gone, and this is my little story. I had actually two individuals, and I made a conscious choice for myself after, having a discussion with the ladies, that I was going to go 30 days. I'm just going to go 30 days. There's no communication. There's nothing, because I feel like I'm giving 100% in this thing. And I've gone 30 days, and only one of them, which is my daughter's father, he texts me only on Mother's Day, just Mother's Day, this past Sunday, which was the 14th. And that was the only communication that we've had. He has not checked to say, hey, are you okay? Do you need anything? How's it going? How's your emotional? How's your mental? So when we get into that aspect as a woman, do you feel that we kind of make that 60-second decision to say, well, I'm not going to call him, I'm not going to put that out there? Does that affect how the relationship goes? Because sometimes we make those decisions to say, well, I'm not going to call him, I'm going to let him call me. And then when neither one of us are making that communication, do you feel that that is kind of like that wedge where we're missing out? Do you think that we would be missing out on something because we're not taking that step to say, well, let me just call?
Well, I think that this just for me. Maybe I'm a little old fashioned, but I don't ever think it's the woman's place to make the initial contact. You know what I'm saying? Communication. I don't think so. I think it's the man's responsibility. You know what I'm saying? This also goes along with being a leader. You know, why would you want her to come to you? You know what I'm saying? To be the rightful leader. You know what I'm saying? When you're supposed to be the rightful leader, you go get her.
So that reminds me of Esther and the King Exorcist. Remember when she was like, well, if I perish, I perish, kind of thing, because it was always the king that if I wanted to see you, I'm going to call for you. But back then they had so many, but I kind of get that the gist of what you're saying is, like, as the king, if I want to see you, I'm going to call for you. And then you come to me. It's not a matter of, you just get to show up willy-nilly, but as a king, if I'm calling you, that means, hey, I'm checking on you. Come see me. So I that was just kind of like what I just got, the analogy of what I just
Yeah.
got.
I mean, I don't know, but also at the same time, though, we have to understand something. Like, you don't have a guy say in a post or whatever, and he'll refer to himself as a king. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? How can you call yourself a king, but you don't know how to treat the queen? Can't be a king if you don't know how to treat the queen. Otherwise, you wouldn't be a king. So I don't know. Only thing I be saying to myself is, when I be looking back, I say to myself, and I've said this a lot. Like, damn, like I was I like that? And at times, it enrages me. And, when one of my friends, he said to me one time, he was on a podcast. You know, I have a podcast.
Well, we would love to hear it, and we'd love to be
Um,
a part of that.
Absolutely. My job kind of like kind of like in the way, so we're trying to finagle some things. But we were on one night, and I was just so enraged on the subject we were on, and how people didn't respond. So I was kind of like, tough on the people, And he's like, bro, like you can't do that. You can't do that. You just can't, just get emotional, like that on them, because you're gonna make them think, that our platform is that we don't care and that we don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
Now that was one of the moments where I didn't stop and think.
Yeah.
You know, I realized that at a later time. And then I went back on and I apologized for any misunderstanding.
Yeah. So
You
when
know,
we
but
think, what's going on over here? Sorry, hold on.
mhm.
Trying to, it's not working. Anyway, so when you say a king, when we talk about these men that are making these posts talking about I'm the king and this and that, for your analogy or your definition, what makes a man a king?
um, understanding who he is, knowing his roots, one who is going to provide, you know, one who stands on his own 2 feet, you know, and he overlooks his flock by any means necessary.
Say that again. Overlooks what?
His flock.
Oh, okay.
He overlooks his flock and he protects them at all costs. At all costs, whatever it is. You
Okay.
know, and you know, I mean, and then again, you know, the queen, she right there. She should not want for anything. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, whatever it is, you have to cater to each one of those things.
Sexually too.
That's,
Excuse me?
she said sexually. Ah,
Well,
you could
well, you
tell
know,
some of us haven't had it in a while, so
well,
we're
you
just
know,
being,
this is in regards to that. When it comes to being with a woman, that's the last stage for me. I
oh,
don't look for that to be the first. I don't want that to be the first stage. But it's in there though. Well, you know, I just feel like if you do all the right things,
you'll get that.
that's always going to be there if you're
Yeah.
doing the right things. You know what I'm saying? So first, I must cater to her mentally, intellectually. This is how I must, you know, entertain her.
Yes.
Once I'm able to do that to arouse her intellectually, what is the physical? The physical is nothing.
I think that just comes natural. Because I've been in I was just like 30 days ago, maybe 45, just in that kind of situation where I mean, I like you. I really care about you, but it's the way you handle me that just makes me not even want to even lay down with you, let alone hold your hand, let alone come and fix you a meal, let alone want to do because it's just how you just the way you talk to me, how you don't provide the protection, how you just kind of like you know that scripture that says he that a virtuous woman who can find such a thing, her price is far above rubies. It's like you go to the jewelry store and you say, I pick her, and then you grab me out of the jewelry and then you just leave me and I'm so valuable and you leave me and you forget about me. And then it's just like, now I'm broken and then you expect me to be this thing that you had like it doesn't make any sense. So it's like you've left me and then it's like you want me to come and do all of these things, provide you with the show, like you put me on when it's needed. Oh, she looks pretty, don't she look? It's like a Rolex, that Rolex watch that you wear only on special occasions, and then you put me aside, and then it's only when you need me, it's like then I got to come out and be this woman and cook for you, clean for you, make sure your laundry is done. And it's like, what, excuse me, but you've left me, like you have literally left me. And it's like, I don't understand how we're doing that. And so it's like you're not providing and so now it's like I don't even want to know, I don't even want to do it. It's a turnoff to not have the protector and the provider and the provision. One thing I will say is like I miss the fun. Like that was my friend. We would have fun together, but it's how you handle me that makes me say that I cannot do.
Mm, I understand.
I tell men from jump, I treat you how you make me feel.
I've said that. So when you give me the plate, when you're handing me the plate of relationship, whatever it is, and whatever I see on the plate, I move accordingly. And you may not like it, but how you move, and this is what I told there. So there's two of them. Don't judge me. So the other one I told him, how you move, I move. So the plate you served me, I said, you don't like it when it's served back to you the same way. So I'm only gonna move how you're moving. You present me with this plate that I gotta filter through to be like, okay, so where's vulnerability? Where's protection? If I have to search for that, I don't want that. No woman would want that.
Um, that's true, but I need you to understand that that also goes for the man also. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said earlier, um, when Karen and I first started back talking, I knew that uh because of what she had gone through, I felt that it was only right to make myself vulnerable. So through conversations, I would give her certain things, just to see, how it would be taken. And to her credit, she handled me accordingly. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But vulnerability was definitely one of the first ones I put out there. You know, I mean, because I feel like, my bid I did 13 years. You know what I'm saying? I figured if I could handle that and deal with what I had to deal with inside for
Mm-hmm.
that long, I can handle being vulnerable because there were vulnerable times
No.
behind the ball,
Yeah.
very vulnerable times. And I'm talking about, um, the physical aspect when it comes to the prisoners, then obviously the correctional officers.
Mm-hmm.
I can deal with anything, so I put that out there.
Yeah.
You know,
Thank you. I appreciate it.
but
Yeah.
So
there always is that thought though about, you know, the what if. The what if is always relevant,
Yeah.
but I didn't um I didn't cut into that. I didn't let that cut into me.
So Gail, you had a question?
so I wanted to touch on a couple of things. First of all, I don't think you're ever going to be vulnerable unless you're on the same page with somebody else, because you will finally feel that safety to be able to be that vulnerable person. And, one of the things, if you are getting involved with somebody and you are not showing that vulnerability and you stay in it, I feel like you're not really serious about that relationship anyway. And the reason why I say that is I I had to go through like counseling, and they what how it was explained to me is that if you are not, the reason why you keep going through these relationships is because you are not on the same level as these people that you're dating, and because you're not wanting to get to that vulnerable state, you need to have beyond. So in essence, it's like you're dating down, or you're or in a different level. You're both at different levels, and you're not on the same page with things. And so you may never get there, because you can't expect somebody to just come up to where you're at. It takes a lot for that to happen. But I mean, when I met Chuck, and here's what, Albert, where I agree with you about the sex part. Chuck and I started out as friends, and the more we became friends, the more attracted I became to him, and the more attracted we would talk about everything under the sun. Um, and it wasn't until it was just like It was like that buildup of something that you'd been waiting for a very, it's like, it's so different from anything that I've ever known.
Mhm.
It's crazy. It's like waiting for that big O that you've been waiting for your whole life, man. Telling you, sorry, Albert. I'm really sorry, but it's the
No, don't
truth.
apologize.
It's the truth. And then once you get, and then once it's there, it's like, oh, really, this is what it is. And then there's that fear of, oh shit, did I just ruin it? Is it
Yeah.
gonna stop now? What's
Yep.
gonna happen here? You know? And then there's that fear. Well, you know what I've been through with Chuck. It's been a long road. Now
Yeah.
it's working on, it's like today, yep, eventually you'll get to come into my house. He only comes to my house. He won't let me go to his. It's like I deal with a turtle, Albert. He's a turtle. He's very slow. He does move forward, but maybe an inch a year, but we're getting there. But it's good. I mean, I don't trust, I mean, he's my ride or die. And that, the way you explain that, I'm like, then I feel like I'm on the right path. You have me feeling like I'm on the right path with that man. Even if it's slow, even if sometimes I get like, can we like move it up to, I mean, I don't know what's between the turtle and the rabbit, but can we get up there? Maybe a possum. I know a possum moves a little
She said a
faster.
possum. Oh,
A possum, not a possum.
I was trying to say possum at the same time. Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is. But you know what? I wouldn't trade it for the world. And I get frustrated with him. I know he gets frustrated with me, but I don't know. I don't worry about him walking away. You know what I mean? I feel like we'll get there. We're going through this. I feel like it's a combined journey now. I didn't feel that way. Trina had to get me to that spot. I started there. I'm like, I don't understand this man. I don't get it. I'm ready to just like, you know, but that friendship, because after he did kind of retract, after we changed things a little bit, it was like, what is happening here? But it's all worth it. The journey's worth it if you can stick with it. And it's not easy. And the one thing he goes, this shouldn't be so hard. I think it needs to sometimes be a little hard. It can't be, if you got something easy, it might not be worth it.
I think
You know?
the fight in that, yeah. So I understand what you're saying on that part. Like, it's like a job. We go into our jobs. Some days it's easy. Some days it's hard. Some days I gotta fight. Some days it's like I say what I say and I keep it pushing. But
look
it's
at our, because we all have baggage. Nobody's going to come into it at this age and not have some kind of baggage.
oh yeah,
Right.
and it's relinquishing the baggage and realizing that this bag of resentment, anger, and hate doesn't need to be in this relationship because he don't have nothing to do with all of that. The new person has nothing to do with all of that. So Albert, now it just kind of clicked in when I asked you the question about the ex and compared to Tara, it's like this relationship, this bag has nothing to do with her. I'll filter through that bag, but I'm going to pay attention to what I have right here. I'm not bringing that bag into this relationship. So God, I thank you for the revelation on that part, that although we have the baggage, I'm not going to focus on the bag in the relationship. So it's like I'm bringing the bag into the relationship and sitting here and trying to filter through that. It's like, let me separate. This person is here. I'm going to focus on this person. I'm going to focus on loving this person and being with this person. But I also have some things over here that I got to deal with. And once I'm able to filter through this bag, then I can, what does Spirit just show me? Like when we're going through a junk drawer or we're going through a cleaning process and we're putting things in the drawer, in the bag. It's like I'm filtering through this bag to say, do I need this? Do I need that? Can I put this back? Do I throw this away? and then being able to chuck the bag or tie the bag up and throw the bag away. So I think I like the analogy, Gail, of using that baggage. Like, yeah, we all have baggage. But then when Albert made made it clear, that thing over there don't have nothing to do with this over here. So I'm gonna deal with this when the time comes. I'm filtering through it, I'm leveling through it, but I'm focusing on this right here. And that is not going to affect that, because he's learned, and I love this, because he's learned to say, I have to separate and divide the two. I'm not bringing that into here. This is separate. So I like that.
You know, the bag that you're talking about is like, so even in those times where I still remember, still recognize that there's some other stuff, you know, that she may need to tend to. However, in the beginning, I told her, I said, look, I said, you know, I'm gonna walk this walk with you know, and that means basically, you know, going through that bag you're talking about, siphoning stuff out, siphoning through things, whatever. But it was also a time where the vulnerable thing, make myself vulnerable, because as a friend,
Yeah.
as the guy that's trying to be with you, I have to give you a part of myself that I have nothing to do. I have nothing to do with this, and I have to be objective at the same time.
Yeah, and making this person aware is what Spirit just said to me. It's like making this person aware of, that's something that you got to work on. Because if I'm not walking in the full awareness as a partner, it's making me aware to say, hey, Tara, so this just came up, or hey, Albert, I don't like this, or hey, Pookie, whatever. This is something that, I'm telling you, being vulnerable and saying that, this person did this, and then making me aware of if I start walking or I start going through the bag while I'm sitting with you in that relationship. So
So
I like that.
important. The baggage is important.
Yeah.
It can bring people actually together and help us grow, right? That's what I'm hearing from both of you on
Yeah.
this.
But when we think about bringing the bag, it's not like I have the bag over my shoulder and I'm coming in here with Albert and I'm not dealing with the bag, but I'm here with Albert. But then there's little things that keep coming up, but I'm not going to the bag. Like, I'm not separating the two. I'm just bringing it in here, and I got this bag, and I'm not dealing with my jealousy, my anger, my strife, my hurts, my isms, I'm not, and I'm just holding on to it. And then I'm talking to Albert all out my face, like, what are you talking about? Because I need to deal with this bag. So until I put the bag down and say, I love you, Albert, I want to be with you, I want to do this, I want to do da 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 da, but I got to deal with this over here too, and filter through, why am I jealous? Why do I get angry? How come this happens? What is the ism that I have? How do I drop the masculine and allow him to be the king? Those are the things that I'm talking about. That's how I filter through that.
That's just like this morning, Albert and I talked, it was real early. We were talking about, I was talking about shadow work. And we were talking about how our alternate ego are the ones that are clashing. So this woman that I was when him and I weren't together, and vice versa, the man he was when we weren't together, and how, he'll say something and Tiara is triggered. I'm like, what did you say? This ain't happening. He like, whoa.
Yeah.
And I said, but there's other times where he says something to me, and it may, be a check, but I can say, okay, honey, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's talent. And I always tell him, I say, it's just the way you say it to me. Now his alternate ego, Mr. Magnetic. If Magnetic comes for me, Mr. Mag comes for me, Tiara like, See, he done stood up against Thomas. So this past week, it's like every morning, I'm like, what is all week I was like, honey, what is happening? It is 7 o'clock in the morning. Why are we having this conversation? So this morning we were able to talk about it. We talked about shadow work. We talked about those things, and realizing that that's what's happening. That alternate ego that protected us when we were out doing what we were doing.
I call
And,
that the
you know,
protector. The protector
yeah.
is like, excuse me.
You need to check that. And me being able to say, Tiara, you know, we're safe
It's-
with Albert. You can
it's
have a
okay.
seat.
Yeah, yeah.
And him too. It's just like, you know, I tell you know, just like Mag, you can have a seat. She's not here to hurt you. You know,
Absolutely.
this is Tara. You know,
And it's
so
having
it's
that
funny y'all talking about. It's what we're talking about this morning.
yeah, so it's having that understanding of saying that I'm not here to hurt you, but when we think about the ego part of ourselves, it's like the ego rises up because, and I call it the protector. When I was a little girl, remember, I went through the abuse. And so all she knew to do was like, well, let me just protect you because I'm a child. But then as I got older, she doesn't know how to differentiate between the protection and just letting me be. And so it's like letting me be the adult. So the protector, Tanika, be like, excuse me, did you just hear what he said? Did you hear what they just said to you? And so then it's like I have to filter through where, so my alter egos, I have 4. So it's Tarina, Tara, Tessa, and when you hit Tanika, Tanika's like blackout. And so it's like I have to reason with all of them to say, why am I feeling this way? What was it that he said that made me go to Tanika so fast? And then how do I heal myself so that I don't go there again? So for me, my mother was a tyrant, really just real aggressive. And she would say things to make me feel like I wasn't smart enough. So my daughter's dad he has this way that he says things that I'm just like, I want to snap. But I know that if I say something to him, it's about to be a full-blown argument, and then you're going to try to twist it around and make it seem like I'm wrong. So it's getting into that moment of saying, okay, so I hear that, and it's not, that trigger comes from my mother. So it's not, I got to be healed from my mama so I can move through a relationship to say, sir, whatever, you know, it is what it is kind of thing. And not allow my ego to rise up and be trying to be like, what did you just say? I know you didn't come, because we can do the whole head clapping hands. What are you talking? We could do it all. But then I'm like, I'm too old for that. Like, I'm too old to be going back and forth, arguing my truth when I know what I said. I said what I said. You know what I'm saying? So it's that piece of it. But I wanted to ask you, Albert, when you think about a queen as a man, and then like being around different men, when you guys talk about women and you talk about the attributes of a woman, what are the attributes of a queen that you guys kind of term, or what are the attributes that you guys think of as a queen? What are the attributes? What attributes a woman to be labeled as the queen?
Well, first and foremost, I believe that the queen should be a reflection of the king. I look for my qualities in my queen, but not just on a basic surface. So I know what I bring to the table, but I need her to be better than me. So this is just the way I think. I think a little weird. I'm a little weirdo.
It's not weird. I think it's just you have found what Albert likes, and you know that this is, for me, this is what have the attributes of a queen. This is what it looks like for me. This is what attributes in my world. This is what a queen would look like to me. So it's not being weird. It's just being authentic with yourself. Check in there. I don't know. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, so what I was about to say was I need her to be better than me because whenever I look at her and I see my qualities in her, but she's perfecting them better than me, that makes me go even harder. You know what I'm saying? To rise above her. So it's sort of like that thing you were just talking about, the
the mountain, and you're building the footing for her to
Yes.
step her foot, and
Yes.
then you go to the
So I
next
put
level.
her up, she pulls me up,
Yeah.
so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? So even though I know that I can never be per se great, but if I chase greatness, I'll still be good.
Yeah.
I will still be good. You know what I'm saying? Because the process doesn't stop. It's a continuing thing. You know what I'm saying? So, I look for her to be obviously strong minded, strong willed, you know, strong determined, you know, knowing that she has a level of loyalty that she would never compromise because loyalty is everything with me. And that
Yeah.
obviously, she's a good nourisher. You know what I'm saying? Must be, very, family oriented. That plays a major role in it, you know. But for me, things of that nature, like
Yeah.
I said, in a nutshell, I got to see me. And then, like I said, the reflection part. So when people see her and she begins to speak, it's no question. People say,
That's
"Oh yeah,
Albert's
yeah,
wife.
yeah, 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 yeah." She said, "Yeah, they sound just alike."
Yeah. So there's a scripture in Proverbs. It's Proverbs 31 where it talks about the attributes of a wife. And it says that when the man sits at the gates with his friends, that they even call her blessed, because that's my wife. And I used to tell girls back in the day when I really started on my journey, I used to tell them, when you think about that scripture and you read it, there's never a time that, you know how you hang around your friends, Albert, and you be with your homeboys, and then you be like, man, I saw Shaquisha down at the club and she was doing such a, but she got a whole man. And so for you men to be sitting around a table eating and fellowshipping, and to hear a man tell you, man, I seen Tara down at the such and such, and she was just acting a fool. She was out. That would make a man be like, that, that's a reflection of Albert. That's a reflection of every man that each one of us women have. If I'm out here acting a plum fool, and then they'd be like, man, I seen Tarina down there doing there. So she was down at we have this club called Mr. A's. I seen Tarina down at Mr. A's, and she was out there just bucking and chucking with every dude out there. That makes a man like, oh my God. Like when I sit at the gate with my friends, I can't call you a virtuous woman. I would hate to say that you're a virtuous woman. And I know that now I'm sitting here with my friends, and my friends done sat out here and told me, I seen her out there doing such and such. You know what I'm saying? So I hear you, because I read the scriptures. The script, it tells you, to get up in the morning and then be out here by day. It's like a mom by day, but a thought by night. I don't know. But I would hate to sit around, and it's just like with us women. I wouldn't want to sit around a table and then have my friends tell me, girl, I seen Pookie down at such and such doing, and you're just like, excuse me? Because then that makes me question, like, so who are you really? Like, who are you? Like, is this the representative now? Because the representative that met me, who is this, the real you? And I think that's a lot of things that we have gone through, is like the representative shows up and he comes in and he tells us all these wonderful things, like Quilla said, but then your actions don't line up with the contract that you've made, that you're saying, well, and then I'm going to be a good provider. I'm a good man. I'm honorable. I'm loyal. But none of your actions line up with that, what you just signed on. So who signed that? Was it the representative? Because I don't know who this man is that I just met. You know what I'm saying?
Some of them don't say nothing. They don't even say who they are. We assume who they are. We want them to be what we want.
Tangi, that's good.
So
That's a good one.
we lead our own selves down the wrong road because we so anxious to have a man. This my man. This my man. He doing this, girl. He's that. He this. And we give him more credit than what he really do. Right. And he really ain't doing none of those things. But it's what we want more than what we have. So I think we kind of live in a fantasy of what we want
Mhm.
and what is presented to us. So
I like that.
right now, that man better line up with every word he say. I guess he gonna be goodbye. See the door. I'm like, pull on this. You ain't even sticking around.
What an action.
Oh,
What an
You ain't
action.
even getting your foot in the door if I see you lying.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. I'm not
And
even gonna take a
why
chance.
do men, that's the
I
thing, why do men
had a
lie?
homegirl tell me that she don't understand that I won't use a man. Like I will not get a man for anything he has. And I'm like, I will not even walk out my door and look a man in their eyes. 'Cause I don't want you to feel no connection. I don't feel like I don't want you to feel like I need you. You know, like it's a want thing.
I think that's a big thing for us as Black women, or women, period. I ain't gonna say Black women, period. We never want a man to think that we need him. That's what I was telling Albert this morning, that, growing up, my mother used to always say, you don't need no man. You could do it yourself.
Yeah.
You could do bad by yourself. These are the things that was embedded in me as a child, as a
Mhm.
female child. So I'm already looking like, I don't need no man, you know. So it starts young, if those
Yeah.
are the things that you're depositing into your daughter.
Yeah.
Well, I know I deposit into my kids. I still think I say that, girl, you don't need him. If he dump him, get rid of him if he's a loser. But that's the only thing, because if you stay in something too long, when you know these signs are not right, then it's not that I didn't tell you, because I told you to leave him. It's
Mhm.
it's just that you choose to stay in it and trying to make this man something that he's not. And
But it's also one of the things where you try to work it out. I mean, Tangela, you had a long span marriage just as well as I did. You try to work it out. And when you're in the church, let's speak about that, is, girl, you better pray. You know how many fasts I went on when I was with Jay Sean's father? I was with him for 12 years. Fasting and, girl, you better pray about it. Starving myself for something that God is like, I didn't even put that man in your, that's who's supposed to be your husband. And now you ain't gonna eat. Girl,
That part. I didn't even
So
send him to you, and you sitting up here starving yourself to ask me for something that I didn't give to you.
Give you?
Girl,
Exactly.
and I know Jesus is like, go sit down somewhere. Because I didn't even tell him to come. You didn't even ask me. He
Girl,
didn't
you
even
better
ask
eat.
me.
That's what Bobby was telling me. Girl,
Go
you
get
better
a
go and
meal.
eat that food.
Go drink you some water. Because that's not, I didn't send him to you. I
Yeah, and I'm
I
fast.
didn't lose you so that he can find you. No,
Yeah,
I didn't put
exactly.
you
But
in
I
this
wanted
thing.
to do a man go. I wanted to do they go through the same thing that we go through. You know what I'm saying? After they discover they went down the wrong road, do
Well,
they feel
Albert, do tell. Look, honey, do tell.
hold up,
Do men
hold up,
go
hold
through
up,
that? Do
hold
they
up.
think
You
about
said,
it?
do men do what?
I said I wondered, you know how we sitting here talking about, like, after we discover we've been with a loser, that's my good word right now. After we discover we've been with a loser, then now we went through the whole thing, like she say, you prayed over him, oh Jesus, let him be a right man, get him together. Lord, I know he's for me. I'm gonna try to work on this marriage. God, I see what you're doing to him. I see he said he's sorry, he's changing. Still a liar. But
Yeah.
I'm just saying, do y'all go through that trying to pray to get this woman right, trying to make sure you stay and work it out, trying to be in it for the kids,
I do know of actual instances that like that. I do. Um, I've been through it personally also. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, men do. Men do. Maybe not as often as women do, but men do.
So they go through their own, like, trying to make it work, but they know it ain't work.
Absolutely.
Everybody, this
Like,
is one of the things that I had told my daughter's dad. When you meet a person, you instantly know you have some kind of inkling to say she ain't it. Tara, I'm gonna mute you.
Oh yeah, mute me, please.
So it's like I know Albert, like if you've ever met a woman and you just be like, this ain't gonna work. Like,
Yeah.
haven't you ever had that like you just know this ain't
Yeah.
gonna work? But we go
Yeah, I
through
have.
it just to kind of fill the gap of that emotional, mental, spirit. Like we try to pull something out of a person, and this ain't gonna work. We know it's not gonna work.
Yeah, absolutely, I have.
So there's your answer, Miss Tangela. They know, just like
Yeah.
we know. You know, when you meet a person, you automatically, this ain't gonna work. And the more you try, it's like you're trying because you're trying to be open into something that God is like, you didn't even, first of all, you didn't even ask me about this person. You just meet this person willy-nilly, and then you think, well, this is my husband, and then and he's like, no, or this is my wife, and I've seen her, and she's just great. And he's like, did you even ask me? Did you even ask me, Albert, about the ex-wife, the ex-woman? Did you even ask me? No, you just went into that willy-nilly. Tara, did you even ask me about all of the relationship? Did you ask me? You haven't even sat with me to ask me, is this the person? Is he a lesson for me, spirit, or is it something that I need to work on full time? You didn't even ask me. You just went in there willy-nilly. And then the times that I am tapping you on your shoulder to tell you, hey, get out. Hey, get out. You just keep going like, oh, well, I'm just going to keep it. It's wonderful. He's just wanting to know. And spirit is like, no. And so then they just let you go, because it's like, we are free moral agents. Spirit is never going to go against our will. They're just going to kind of give us the, hey, don't do that. But you keep going, and this is what happens. Where I wish Zakia was here to tell the story of when I told her, don't you do it, and she went and did it anyway. And it's the regret of knowing that I knew I shouldn't have done it. I knew I shouldn't have been with this person. Had I not been with this person, I probably wouldn't be in the situation that I am. But lesson learned. And now I can be able to pay attention to the flags, the red flags, the white flags, and understand what I want. Is this something that I want, to have a person keep making me feel less than, or belittling me, or not having me my back, not seeing me when I'm being vulnerable and I'm giving 100% of myself to them? Can I keep doing this with this person? So it's understanding, what does it look like to be vulnerable with a person? What is it? And one of the questions that I always ask is, I always pray when I pray to God is like, I want to be able to see the love, and I want to be able to feel it. I don't want to just be with the person and not feel like, because I know I've never felt that from anybody. Like, I've never felt the love from a man, but you'll tell me, oh, I love you. But it's like, but what does that feel like to actually have a man love me and then have the actions move behind that to show me that you love me? So I want to be able to see it, and I want to be able to feel it.
You know what? I think God is gonna really bring somebody in my life, and I don't know how soon it is, but I feel like I'm ignoring every man that I see. I don't know why. I mean, me and this man just had a conversation about the onions since I've been on. You know, I'm like, oh, what you want me to onions? She's like, yeah, this onions. I don't eat them raw. And I'm like, oh, okay. You know, I just feel like it's starting to be signs, and I'm like, God, is you making me ready? It's scary. Is you really? But then at the same time, I got this attitude. Okay, baby, please keep walking. Just keep. I know.
There's a scripture in the Bible, and I want to find it, that says that a woman should be so hidden in God that a man would have to find her. So we would have to be so hidden in the word, Miss Tangela, that the man would actually have to find us in the word. That he'll have to come and be like, ooh, she's in the word, like the word is there in us. So let me find that scripture.
Right now.
But let me find that scripture. You can, if you have something to say, Albert.
I'm here, y'all. I'm just going
No,
to get Adrian. I got my video off.
I'm listening. I'm listening. I'm listening.
Well, we would love to have your friends come.
Who's friends?
The guys that you do your podcast with.
Oh, you mean my comrade? Yeah, absolutely. Now listen, he's the one.
Who's the one?
I call him the one. This might be the smartest guy that I ever known.
Here it is.
That's really nice to say.
He really is.
It is when you can really compliment a person and
You know,
feel
and
they
he
are
younger than
very.
me, so you know what I mean. But you know, he younger than me. Damn, I think he's younger than Tara.
He's younger
Uh,
than both of us.
He's
Oh,
He's
younger
younger
than
okay.
me,
than
right?
us, honey.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a couple of years younger than me. So I'm 53. He got to be at least 50, 51.
Oh, all right.
what's a quote?
Is that Pluto barking? Because Gordo is.
What happened?
I hear a
Y'all hear
dog
the
barking
dog?
under
Y'all hear
my
the dog bark?
dogs.
It's
What
three
scripture
of
y'all
them.
looking at?
I'm trying to find that scripture. I know it's in Corinthians and it talks about a woman should be like she should be hidden in God. That he has to find her.
Sounds
I'll be
good.
right back. I'll be right back. I'll use the bathroom real quick.
All right, we'll be here.
Almost forgot I was supposed to pick this bed up for work.
The bed, a bed.
No, my son-in-law, I almost forgot.
Oh,
Oh,
Your new man making you forget.
uh-oh.
okay. Who is who is who is you said you might have to pop off at 9:30 because somebody might be coming over, Trina. Is this a new somebody we don't know about?
Or what am I talking? What do you who
You said goblins. I didn't know what you were talking about.
huh?
Yeah.
In the text message you sent me, you said something that Gobbins is coming over and you may have to log off at 9:30. I'm like, who is Gobbins?
No, I said I told you I'm gonna log on, but if no one shows up, I'm like, that's what it's supposed to. I was asleep when you said it.
Oh, okay. So you was texting crazy.
I was.
Oh. I'm like, I don't know.
She
It's like
feel
sometimes I come in on a conversation and I'm like, whoa, what happened this week?
Did we miss something?
I can't keep up with y'all text message because I don't know everybody by number. You know, everybody talking, you don't know who is.
Girl,
You know
it's
Gail,
good.
because Gail gonna say
You need to
something about
change the phone number so you know who is who. The only reason I know it's you is
right.
because it's 708.
Yeah.
That's right. That's Chicago
You're
style,
my
baby.
only phone number. So I need to
Yeah.
actually put your name to it. Put Tangela.
Yeah, I need to
Angela,
put-
you're in Chicago?
Yes.
Chi-town.
Wow, you're not very far from me.
Where you at?
I'm only like 7 hours from you. I'm like in the middle of you and Trina. I'm in
Oh.
Nebraska.
Oh, I can't wait till we meet up.
I know.
It's gonna be like we have known each other forever.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
I'm super excited. I'm super excited about this trip we still haven't got together. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh, I saw this one other place with the sands. There are these little huts and it's in the water.
I can't swim, Gail.
I can't swim like that, Gail. I can swim, but I can't swim, but Lord.
Oh,
Have you
honey, I
heard-
can float. You can use me like a life preserver. I'm
Oh,
good.
you're so sweet.
Don't
How
worry, I
sick
might
you.
have to. I never learned how to swim.
I have room for everybody. Just grab a limb. We're good.
That means you must be a real good swimmer.
I am pretty good.
Wow.
I am.
And then the water is good for arthritis and all that too.
So there's a scripture, and I can't find it, but in First Corinthians chapter 7, it talks about to be married and to be single. So it kind of gives you the attributes of what it would be to be single. But I have to find that where I know it says that a woman should be so like you need to be hidden in the word.
I
So
think it's
that
11.
in 11
Mhm.
in First Corinthians. Quilla,
Yeah,
First Corinthians chapter 11 or 7:11. Oh,
11. Chapter
Oh.
11.
hold on, girl. Hold on. We're gonna do the Message Bible.
We never have everybody on at the same time.
This is the
It's always-
first.
No, what's her face's missions?
Zakia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was working.
All right.
And Brianna now.
Oh yeah, I haven't talked to Brianna. Okay. So this is talking about to honor God. But when we get down to verse 10, so in the Message Bible it goes 10 through 12. It says, don't, by the way, read too much into the differences here between men and women. Neither man nor woman can go it alone or claim priority. Man was created first as a beautiful, shining reflection of God. That is true. But the head on the woman's body clearly outshines in beauty the head of her head, her husband. The first woman came from man, true, but ever since then, every man comes from a woman. And since virtually everything comes from God anyway, let's quit going through these who's first routines. Uh-oh. My God. That's not it. That's not it. But I want to read to you guys chapter 7. So because that's one of the things that that came up in prayer one time. So we had prayed this. So when we're talking about marriage and being single, like right now we're single. So then there's the attributes of being married. And so 1 Corinthians chapter 7 starts at verse 1. It says, now getting down to the questions you asked in your letter to me. First, is it a good thing to have sexual relations? Certainly, but only within a certain context. It is good for a man to have a wife and for a woman to have a husband. Sexual drives are strong, but marriage is strong enough to contain them and provide for a balanced and fulfilling sexual life in a world of sexual disorder. What Albert said to us, okay? The marriage bed must be a place of mutuality. The husband seeking to satisfy his wife and the wife seeking to satisfy her husband. Marriage is not a place to quote unquote stand up for your rights. You better teach him, Paul. You better tell him what it is, okay? Marriage is a decision to serve the other, whether in bed or out. Come on here, Albert, with this word that you gave us today, okay? Abstaining from sex is permissible for a period of time if you both agree to it, and if it's for the purpose of prayer and fasting, but only for such times. Then come back together again. Satan has an ingenious way of tempting us when we least expect it. I'm not commanding these periods of abstinence, only providing my best counsel if you should choose them. Verse 7 says, sometimes I wish everyone were single like me, a simpler life in many ways. But celibacy is not for everyone and any more than marriage is. God gives the gift of the single life to some, the gift of married life to others. He said, I do, though, tell the unmarried and widows that singleness might well be the best thing for them, as it has been for me. But if you can't manage these desires and emotions, they should by all means go ahead and get married. The difficulties of marriage are preferable by far as to a sexual tortured life as single. If you are married, stay married. This is the master's command, not mine. If a wife should leave her husband, she must neither remain single or else she must either remain single or else come back and make things right with him. See, this is where we get into that conflict. This is the word. Don't come for me. Okay. and the husband has no right to get rid of his wife. For the rest of you who are mixed marriages, Christian married and non-Christian, we have no explicit command from the master. So this is what you must do. If you are a man with a wife who is not a believer, but who still wants to live with you, hold on to her. If you are a woman with a husband who is not a believer, but he wants to live with you, hold on to him. The unbelieving husband shares to an extent in the holiness of his wife, and the unbelieving wife is likewise touched by the holiness of her husband. Otherwise, your children would be left out as it is. They are also included in the spiritual purpose of God. On the other hand, if the unbelieving spouse walks out, you've got to let him or her go. You do not have to hold on desperately. God has called us to make the best of it as peacefully as we can. You never know, wife, the way you handle this may bring your husband not only back to you, but to God. You never know, husband, the way you handle this might bring your wife not only back to you, but to God. And don't be wishing you were someplace else or with someone else. You are right now in God's place for you. Live and obey and love and believe right there. God, not our marital status, defines our life. And we can just drop the mic on that. Okay. Don't think that I'm being harder on you than others. I give you the same counsel in all churches. So I want to go to 36 and 30 through 40. It says, if a man has a woman friend to whom he is loyal, but never intended to marry, having decided to serve God as single, and then changes his mind, deciding he should marry her, he should go ahead and marry. It is no sin. It's not even a quote unquote step down from celibacy, as some say. On the other hand, if a man is comfortable in his decision for the single wife in service to God and is entirely his own conviction and not imposed on him by others, he ought to stick with it. Marriage is spiritually and morally right and not inferior to singleness in any way. Although, as indicated earlier, because of the times we live in, I do not have pastoral reasons for encouraging singleness. A wife must stay with her husband as long as he lives. If he dies, she is free to marry anyone she chooses. She will, of course, want to marry a believer and have the blessings of the master. By now, you know that I think she'll be better off staying single. The master, in my opinion, thinks so too. So, marriage and singleness, but kind of chiming in on what Albert said, it's like marriage, sex is not the thing that we should stand on. Like, I'm not standing on that. It's like he said, I got to get to know all of you, and then that'll come down the road. I don't think I like this. I don't like that. When you're saying to stay with a person, but then when we think about, like Tara said, how the church, girl, you better fast and pray. Stay with them. Just stay. And he could be the worst person ever. But you're teaching me how to bottom level myself in the church and keep something that really I shouldn't have. That's not even for me. But the church will really, and that was one of the things we've talked about this, Albert, where the church really hones in on a single women, and when we find this man in church, then we like, oh, well, he's a church goer and he's a Christian and he's saved, but then behind closed doors he's a whole different person, like he's a beast. And then they're telling us, you pray for him, girl, you need to pray for him and pray for his soul, and it's just like, but how much of that do I need to do, when you think about that part?
I'd be like, he's gonna need prayers. Just saying.
So what do you think about, like, in the church, Albert, when you think about how they've kind of, and I don't want to say they've preyed on us women, but when we get into church and we see, and this is my probably my testimony, when I see the pastors, the wives, and how they tell us all of these things that these men have gone through, and he was this, and you know, one man was on crack. I remember there was a pastor that was on crack and he was always in the streets. He was always in the club. And then it's like what they taught us is that we prayed for him and he changed. But then when you hear the pastor talk, it's like an Albert, like, no, I really soul searching and I changed myself. And then I realized in the process of the change, I saw this woman and said, and I want to say she rocked with me even in my lowest point. Even when I was down and out in my most vulnerable time, this woman was still there. So when you think about that, is there in the church, had you ever felt as a man that you were like made to be with a person that you honestly knew that God didn't call you to be with that person?
Okay. Well, I tell you, man, I didn't anticipate to really talk on this subject. So um, there was a time in my life where I was just cutting through the church, so to speak, and uh, my kid's mother, the pastor used to like tell me like in conversation with her, like, what do you mean? You know, he's saying the same thing that you just read. And I used to be like, listen, first of all, I'm not doing nothing I don't want to do. That's first and foremost. If I feel like, you know, it's creating some things, then I gotta go. Now, I'm with you. I disagree with what it said. However, this is the next part. In my faith, it says the exact opposite.
Mm.
So basically, what you're telling a woman to do is to stay in an oppressive situation. You cannot tell somebody to stay in a situation that is unstable and it's oppressive, because when you don't give the woman her rights, that's oppressing her.
Mm.
And she has rights. So, as I said in my faith, when a husband doesn't live up to what he's supposed to do as a husband, as a father, so on and so forth, that becomes her grounds for divorce.
Right.
You know what I'm saying to you? All she has to say is, he's oppressing you. Well, how's he oppressing you? You give an example or a situation with him, and it's it. He's out of there. And he knows that he has to basically, give way to the divorce.
Dissolve the marriage. So I saw on TikTok where it's a guy from I want to say they're Arabic, I want to say, and he was talking about that and he made the comment of saying, see your wife, honor her, because if you keep taking her for granted, even in the midst of the marriage, then all of a sudden you come before us, because I believe back there they have the council. So you come before us and you want
Islamic counsel,
counseling.
yes.
And then you come and he said, the man has got his chair turned towards the wife saying, I'm sorry, I don't mean it. I will honor her. I will see her now. And he said, the woman never changes her position. She's looking dead at us with a smile on her face saying, help me to dissolve this. Because when I worshiped the ground this man walked on, I loved him so much and he took me for granted. And now you see, we're done. And so I respect and I honor that part where it's like I've done everything that I could do, and I'm not going to stay in that anymore. So I think what people get to is like they think women become like that. What is the term I'm trying to look for? The whole feminist movement.
Mm-hmm.
So they think that that's what it is. But when you get into the feminist movement, what to me that sounds like is you're trying to put yourself in a man's position, that masculine energy. And no, what I'm saying in my feminine part, in the feminist part, is honor me, value me. Don't just see me, but hear me. And when I say hear me, hear the soul of me crying out to you, telling you, I need some attention. I need something else from you. And what I find too, Albert, is like a lot of women really don't know what they want. And so when I ask the question, and I've asked the question of all the ladies, when you get down to relationship, it's asking yourself, what do I want? What does it look like for me? Because what it looks like for me looks like it's different for Gail, Quilla, Miss Tangela, and Tara. It's different. But what do you want? And a lot of women cannot articulate, this is what I want. I want to be able to have a man where I got a window. This is my story. I got a window that's broken right downstairs. I cannot open the window. I want a man to be able to come in here and be like, let's fix it. Let's do what we got to do. I got a washing machine right now that needs to be fixed. I really would like to, even if you don't fix it, and this is how I told a guy, even if you don't fix it, just tell me, baby, go get it fixed, and then tell me how much it is later. Like, give me that part where I don't have the worry. And for me, Albert, it's the constant, like, I gotta, like, it's something. Here's something else. So I go downstairs to the window and I thought, God, I don't know what you're showing me in this. But God, I thank you for showing me this, because that is like, I don't know what it is. And so I've always talked to the ladies about, when we talk about a man, when we talk about relationship, what does it look like? When you get that person, when he shows up, how is it going to make you feel? How do you see it? And so we talked about that on Wednesday. Like, when you put your crown on your head and you close your eyes and then you envision your kingdom, what does that look like when the king comes out of the room and he walks up? Do you get the little butterflies and be like, "Ooh, look, there he is"? That's what I want to feel. I want to be able to see, like, oh, there he, look at him. Ain't he fine, y'all? Just look at him. I want to feel that. So I don't want to be in anything that's discomforting and it's disheartening, where I'm not being honored as the queen. I'm not being valued. I'm being taken for granted. So I mean, that's just what I'm kind of thinking about. And so when we get down to the council, go ahead. Were you gonna say something?
No.
Oh.
I'm listening to you.
So when we get down to the counsel of a thing, and then you know how they tell us that we shouldn't be unequally yoked. So it talks about it right here, where you're talking about, I'm not, I don't want to say Christian, I'm spiritual. I'm very spiritual. I know God, I know the word, God is my friend. But when I pull out of religion, the law, and get into the spirituality of a thing, I know how to walk in spirituality, but also follow the law. So when we think about Christian spirituality and a non-Christian person or a non-spiritual person, when you talk about that part, it's like, is there anything wrong with that? Like, do you see, like, when they say that? Because I've seen, there have been people in relationships where there's the woman that is saved and then the husband don't go to church. And we see it a lot. But sometimes the man doesn't change. And why is that?
Well, for starters, so the woman that's, into the church and dealing with a guy that's not into the church, that's not of the word, like she is, um, we're gonna lose the aspect of uh, saying church. We're gonna say we're gonna use the term believing people, believing person. In my faith, a believing woman cannot be with a disbelieving man. Can't be. And for the men can be with a disbelieving woman. However, it is strongly recommended that she be of the people that have that. You want a believing woman. You want a woman that has concept, that has the concept of the creator.
And explain. So I understand. I understand why. But as a man, kind of help them understand why you would need a woman that is like-minded. and not a woman that's just of the world. Because you know the scripture that says, be in the world, but not of it. There are men that are with women that are in the world, and he's not of the world. So when kind of explain why you would need a woman that has the same attributes as you.
Well, I think for one, um, a believing woman, if she's a believing woman, she's going to honor and respect herself first and foremost. So I know if she honor and respects herself, then she's going to honor and respect me. 'Cause we're one and the same. I believe in just like you believe, but you
Right.
believe in people. So we definitely have the common cause. You know what I'm saying? But to further that though, in being with a believing woman, again, I'm all about her challenging me, making sure that I stay on point. If she sees me slacking, then she has the knowledge to be able to explain it to me or bring it to my attention. You know what I'm saying? And then, therefore, if need be, remind me of the know-how.
Right. So it's
So it's
kind of
like
like
them
what
was like
Tara
they kind
just,
of teach.
yeah. So it's kind of like just what Tara did for you when you were going through your job search. It's kind of like helping you understand, like giving you the word. And this is how I look at it. It's like allowing you and giving you back the word to remind you of the word. It works for you. And then to how can I see it? It's like when you're planting the footing, it's like she's looking up to you to give you the word to tell you, like, because there may be a time, Albert, that you may be down, like a man may be really weary in creating this step up for you, this level up. It's hard to create the level up. It's hard to carve out this space for you to put your footing. It's hard for me. And so as a woman, as a believing woman, I should be, while you are creating the next level up for me, while you've pulled me up to this next level, I should be at this level. God, I thank you that this man is going to be able to be strong, that as he pulls himself up, God, that he pulls us up. God, I thank you that he is creating a foundation for the next level for us to go up to. Because now, mind you, I'm still here. You are climbing your way to the next level to bring me to that place. So as a woman, as a believing woman, I should be able to use the word to give you the strength as you're going up to the next place. And also giving me the faith to say, God, I thank you that he is going to guide me, that he's not going to leave me at this place, but God, he's going to bring me to that next level up. God, I thank you that as he gets to that next level up, that he won't forget about me, but God, he'll love me in the interim. God, I thank you that you are giving him the wisdom on how to get to the next level. I thank you, Father God, that you are making the crooked places straight for him, that you are guiding him to the next level, that he won't veer off the path to get us to the next level. And I thank you that as he creates this foundation, that I won't lose my footing to be his helper and his helpmate, and that he won't lose his footing when he's bringing me to that next level.
Well put.
You go, girl.
Well put.
That's what I'm talking about. If you both in a word, you both pull each other up. You won't
Right.
forget each other
Because
because
then
the
as
word will keep you in power.
right. And so then he, as the man, as he's climbing up, as he's going to look to the hills from which cometh his help, knowing that his help comes from God, knowing that God, as I go up this mountain, God, I thank you that you've given me a wife that provides for me, that is helping me, Father God, that is my cushion, that is my grounding. God, I thank you that she's taking care of the level that we were on. But God, I thank you that as I rise to this next level, that she will meet me where I'm at, God, and that she won't be afraid of me bringing her to where I'm at. God, I thank you for this woman, that she's divinely connected. It's like the two of us working together. And remember, we had talked about working the word, that the both of us coming together, we're able to work the word together, which entails what God just said, is that's the reason why a man has to walk in that piece of vulnerability, to walk in the vulnerability, to be able to be open to what God is telling him to do. Because sometimes, sir, it may not be you need to level up, but maybe go to the next side or to the next place, but never go down. Because sometimes a man will go down or a woman will take a person down, So us being able to be vulnerable with each other to say, I'm a little afraid to come up to this level. I'm afraid. And then he'd be like, baby, I got you. Having that protection. Or babe, you know what? I'm a little afraid to go to this next level. And then she prays that strength into him. So the whole gamut of what it looks like to have that partner and not being outside of the will of God. So when we say equally yoked, it means to have being like-minded, because that scripture that's, that saying, like attracts like. If I'm weak-minded, I'm finna get a weak-minded man. If I'm if I bottom level myself, I'm finna attract a man that's going to be bottom level. If I have no growth or no potential, if I'm stagnant, then I'm going to really pick the same person. That like thing, it comes to me. We wonder why we're always in these messed up relationships. It's kind of like, what are you thinking? That's why the Bible tells us, out of the heart of the man flows the issues of life. What as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. That scripture really doesn't mean that. It means like, I could be with you, but so afar off from you. I really want this man that's going to take care of me, provide for me, but I'm so afar off from him because of what I'm thinking.
That's why you're a life coach. That's why. I'm looking for that religion. I'm looking for that man that we is equal. He got to believe. He got to know the word. He got to be in the word. He got to serve the word. He got to think the word. He must eat it too.
But you also have to do the same thing, because when we think about the table, when a man comes to the table,
you're right. I'm a little unbalanced, right?
He don't want to come to the table and there's nothing there.
You're absolutely right.
There's nothing at the table. So at the gate, I should be able to fill him up with everything that I have. I should be able to give him word right off the gate. So for me, at the gate, that's what a man's going to get. I'm going to give you the word because that's what's in me. I mean, and that's just where I'm at. I just give you the word. But if a man doesn't see that the word is in you, what he's going to do is what Albert said. I'm going to take advantage of you because there's no standing. There's no standard. You haven't set a standard for yourself to say, no, I don't deserve that. And that's one of the things that I've learned is I've never set a standard for myself. I just allowed whatever to come. And now that I have the word keeps me to where it's like, no, I don't, no. It's like in the kingdom, I have created this boundary for myself to say that can't come in, but that can.
Yeah.
That's true.
So, Albert, you have anything else to say on that?
Trina, like, you want to say more?
I mean, I agree. I agree with everything you're saying. But look, I listen. Y'all got to understand something. And again, and whatever I say, I'm actually talking to myself.
Oh, okay.
So I know a lot of times us men come off like we got it all figured out, right? That's not the case. We don't be having it figured out, especially at a young age. Now, granted, there's a couple young people that did figure it out early on, but that's a rarity, though. That's the rarity. But as for the man in general, we don't be having it figured out. You know what I'm saying? And then to go with that, one thing a woman should never do. This came up a couple times while we've been talking.
Say what?
Don't never dumb down.
Ooh, that part, Albert.
What'd he say?
Don't never dumb down.
Don't dumb yourself down. Don't bottom level yourself.
Yeah, don't think because, he's not on my level, so maybe I just need to deal with him on his level. No.
Oof.
No. For what? That was his problem to begin with. That's what his mama did to him.
Ooh, you better preach this, Albert.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm only able to say that because my mother didn't cater to me, so to speak. I literally had to have a hand in, as a 12, 13-year-old, getting paid weekly, coming home, and my mother taking the money and saying, I gotta live here and pay bills. You gonna pay bills because you live here too. And I never understood why she did me like that as a 12-year-old coming into my teenage years. Never didn't understand it then. I understand it now. I understand it now. So you can't dumb down. No, it's somebody out there. There's someone that shares the same thing that you want, that wants the same things that you want. You know what I'm saying? It's just as we've been saying earlier. You know what I'm saying? You gotta keep yourself in tune and look for the signs. If the signs are there, the signs will show.
Absolutely.
You know?
I agree. And that's what I'm saying.
But it's also
Oh, I-
getting in your word so that you'll see the signs. Because
Yeah.
there's a lot of women that are out there that don't see the signs, or and then like Albert said, like our parents didn't teach us what relationships look like. Like we didn't know, like for me, it was like I just knew that there were two parents in the household. Like I just knew there was a mom and a dad and that they took care of everything. So I didn't really want for anything. Like I'm the middle child, only girl between my mother and my real father. So it's really kind of like I'm rotten, and I'll tell the dude like I'm rotten. So my daughter's dad used to tell me that he was like, you just spoiled, you want things and I'm absolutely correct. But then it's like I have to set that boundary to say, is this something with me wanting a thing? Is it something that I want or I need, or like what Tangela said was like you said about Tara, like I'll use it to my advantage, because I just want it and I want you to do what I want you to do without saying that I want you to do it. But there's like that kind of underhanded thing. So I don't know what it's like to not have everything that I want. So if I want something, Albert, I'm finna go get it. I don't care what it's gonna take. I used to be broke, about to be homeless because I was like, well, I want to have it. Now I've set the boundary to say, is that a want or is that a need? And then I say, if that's a need or a want, then I have to set it to where it's a goal that at the end of the day, that's the thing that I'm striving for. Once I accomplish that goal, then I get to have that thing. So having these relationships is really difficult for me because I'm rotten and I have to get out of that spoiled mentality, that spoiled little girl who gets whatever she wants when she wants it. I really have to get myself out of that mode that's saying sometimes when a man says no, then baby, it's no. No, you can't have half the kingdom today. You can only have this little portion right here, And no, maybe it's not today. Not today. You don't need to go out here and buy another chariot. What are you talking about? Or no, you don't need to have everything just because sometimes you're not going to use it.
Mm.
So, dear.
Well, the no thing, I haven't gotten that part perfected yet.
Oh, you
I
don't
don't
know
know
how
how
to
to say it. No, not to Tara. I don't. I wouldn't know how to say no.
Tara, start asking. Keep asking for everything. No, I'm just kidding.
You know, and and that's not an easy thing for me. You know, from my previous relationship, that's like that ain't good for me. That had like my past relationship had put me in such a I was in a bad place mentally.
Now, do you find you can't say no because of the things that you're like? Because I heard you say that your mom would she would take your check and be like, you're gonna pay bills here. Is that a form of because my mom was so in control of that I don't know how to say no? Like, did you ever tell your mom like, no, I'm not giving you my check today? Because you felt like it was the right thing to do. So when you think about that part of you not saying no, do you feel like it's the right thing for me to do to be the provider and protector at this point, knowing that she probably don't need it, but I'm gonna give it to her anyway?
She doesn't strike me as one that would ask and don't need it.
Yeah, Tara ain't like that.
You know
Mm-mm.
what I'm saying?
I would ask you and get it. No, I'm just joking.
But
That would be Angela.
Tangela, go get a shirt, but I'm gonna go get me a shirt and some lunch. Sorry, it's a little inside joke that we found out on Wednesday, but go ahead.
but no, I'm saying like, you know, I guess to not be able to say no to her is from it. I mean, I don't know, maybe this is kind of like sad on my case, but just the thought of just knowing that it had been 37 years since we had been together.
Go ahead, man. I
You know
ain't
what I'm
doing none
saying?
on these people's job, but go ahead. That's what
So
I'm
just when the moment came back around,
Hmm.
you know, I don't know, it was just like something in me like, wow, but you know what? I messed up before, you know, and obviously you know about the baby and all of that, you know. So I was even telling her like, yeah, like you know, I think about it often, you know. So I said when he came back around, I said, well, that happened before. That'll never happen again. So
That's what I'm talking about.
I'll do whatever I have to do.
When them losers come back, they better come right.
Well, we honor you for that part, and that's the one thing I told Tara is that I honor you for that piece of protection that wasn't given in that time. But we have to understand, you guys were young. We were young children when that happened. It was like a young moment that happened, and there was the allowance of our parents, the authority figure to tell us, no, you're not going to do. And I think for you, it was like, I'm the man. I should have protected her in that moment and said, we are going to do A, B, C, and D. But it was like you kind of just let it be what it was. And like the regret, you know, the pain of knowing that there could have been a connection between the two of you outside of the relationship, that being torn away from you and not having the recompense and the reconciliation of that piece. And now here it came back full circle. So crazy that it happened, because I can't remember what happened. She was telling us that she had talked to you, and I don't know. I think we were praying. I think it was a Wednesday night prayer, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it just came up. And so I honor what God does in me in that moment. And so when she called me, she was like, Tarita, what did you do? And I'm like, it wasn't me. It was what Spirit did. So to bring back that divine connection, it's we have to reconnect in order to revive, in order to replenish, to rekindle the thing. So it was like I told her, like, there's the seed that was there. And although the seed was gone, it was dead for like 37 years. Have you ever seen a plant that just all of a sudden it just starts growing? You're just like, where did it come from? It's because at some point, someone and what I just saw was like a person that had a home, and they were planting these rose bushes or something, or lemon tree. Why am I saying the lemon tree? I don't know. Gail, tell me what lemons mean. Anyway, so a lemon tree in the backyard that has been dead for so long. But then all of a sudden, this person moves in and they start nurturing this tree, nurturing the soil. And this lemon tree begins after 37 years to begin to produce the fruit of the lemon tree. So this is why God said lemons, because when you have a lemon, when life gives you lemon, Tara can make some lemonade. She can make some lemon pie. She can make some lemon chicken. She can make some lemon tea, some soup. It's like you can take that lemon and you can make so many things out of that lemon. God, I thank you for this word. So it's all of a sudden 37 years, the thing that wasn't growing, now we brought it back, and now there's the nurturing of a man's soul and a woman's soul to allow them to begin to grow together, because the scripture says you will know them by their fruits. And now the two of you coming together, nurturing this tree of life back to the lemons, to where you guys can do anything and everything with this lemon. I'm pretty sure Tara can find a way to make some lemon, tater tots. I don't know. But you know what I'm saying? It's like taking that lemon. A lemon is one thing that you could use the juice, you can use the rind of the lemon, you could use the what do you call it? The zest of a lemon. You can make some lemon Pop-Tarts, some lemon muffins, some lemon cake. There's so many things that you can do with this lemon. So what God is saying within this relationship, there's so much that has been lost, that was lost over the years. But I had to take you through this. I had to separate you in order to take you through it. So then when you come back together, it's going to provide the necessary growth that is needed in this time and in this season for this thing to grow the way I want it to grow. Not the way y'all wanted it to grow, but the way God wants it to grow. Amen.
Amen.
And the church said amen.
Amen.
And don't allow everybody to pluck off your tree, Albert.
Oh no,
I
that's a
think
no
I
no.
appreciate what he got. I don't think
Okay.
nobody puts that tree.
What I mean by that is don't allow a lot of people to come to the tree of knowledge that you have and pluck it because they don't use it the way they need to be used. It's like they're taking from you and not giving back to the seed. Okay.
Oh,
So it's like they take the lemon and then they just kind of use it, and then they don't use the lemon to the full capacity. Okay.
Yes.
Meaning that I can
Yes.
take the lemon off the tree and then I could use the zest, I can use the rind, and I can put the seeds back in the ground. No one is there to fill you back up the way God is wanting. So don't allow people to keep pulling off the tree of wisdom and knowledge and not giving back in the same capacity.
300%. Yeah.
That's good.
That was your message for today. All right, ladies. Anybody got any more questions, concerns? You got something to say? No? Nobody got nothing to say? Terry, you ain't got nothing to say?
No, I think this was just truly amazing. It was really, really good.
Gil, you got something to say?
Really good conversation.
No, I just thoroughly enjoyed it. And Albert, I'm so glad you joined us today. And it's nice to meet you. We've heard
Finally.
a lot about you.
We have.
Same
Yes, we
here.
have.
And
Well, we would love to have you back. So if you want to join us on Sundays, we would love to have you. We join Wednesday night. We have prayer on Wednesday. Never would have thought that 1180 would have gone to this capacity of having a man, but I think if we have the mixture, because it helps us to have those qualified and quantified conversations around relationships, around what it looks like to have a relationship in spirituality, and just kind of diving into that. And this was like refreshing to the soul to have another output and another aspect of what it looks like in a relationship and in the spiritual realm. And then, and just, we appreciate you. We do.
Thank you, and likewise. I enjoyed myself. I really did. I mean, so I'll be back.
All right. Well,
Well,
you have
thank-
the link it won't change until I change it. So that link is the same. So Wednesday and Sunday. So Wednesday night at 6 p.m. my time, and then 9 a.m. my time on Sunday. So anytime you just text us and let us know you coming, and then we'll be prepared.
All right.
But I'm just gonna be myself. I'm not gonna sugarcoat nothing with nobody. But go ahead, Miss Tangela. I'm sorry.
I'm finna do some real work. I did a little. But I
Uh-oh.
enjoyed the conversation. Thank you. It's hope that things can be rekindled and people pass. I just hope nobody come back in minds.
No, they won't.
I think it's a beautiful thing. I love to see that smile on her face and to see, because I kind of remember going through it and looking at you. It was rough, and no one want to see anybody go through anything. No one, if you have love for a human being and another sister to sister. So I'm just happy to see you smiling. I'm just happy if he's the one making you smile, continue to be. your king and queen. Now we're gonna do some work.
Okay, we'll talk to you later.
Mhm. Bye, Tangela.
Bye. See you later.
Bye-bye. See you later, everybody. Love
Okay.
y'all.
Love you too.
Love you.
So maybe Albert, I'm thinking, in the aspect of the women's group, I'm thinking maybe do you guys think like we should do like every other Sunday, or like making it like a Sunday where he comes and maybe you can have like your other friend come and we can have these conversations like what do you guys think, like every first and third or every second and fourth or like every Sunday? What would that look like to you guys?
Maybe every second and fourth. Well, honey, you got your podcast, so what? I mean,
Like what does
maybe
your
once a
schedule?
month until your yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not starting the podcast back up until I leave.
Oh,
okay.
okay.
That's the route that I think is going, only because of the changes that we're making.
Okay.
So
So
would you
so you don't know the name of my podcast or anything?
No, I don't know anything. She told us about it, but she didn't tell us the name of it.
So the name of my podcast is called As the Other World Turns.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I think you did
So,
mention.
Yeah.
yeah. So
That's-
off top, my main agenda is um the prison system. That's my main agenda. But
Okay.
then we shoot off from that, and then we cover up many other, topics.
Yeah.
Maybe a current event or something. Changes within the world.
Mm-hmm.
I speak about a lot of rent control issues I talk about. So like I said, I cover a lot of different things. You know what I'm saying? But it initiated from me being incarcerated
I was in
and
jail
me
too.
being, huh?
I was in prison too. Not prison, but I was in jail. So I went 30 days. So I can only imagine a month changing my life, and then another year, and then another year, and then another year. And then when I get out, I have to acclimate to so I used to work with this organization that dealt with people re-entering into society. And so these people have been in jail 15, 20 some odd years. And it's just changing the mindset. Because once you get in the prison system, they change your whole thoughts, where you're on lockdown at this time. You got to walk on this side of the room. You can't do this. You got to do this way. You can't have this. So it's always the thing that I can't do. So when they got out, I started a support group, and I remember at that point I started watching the Law of Attraction at that moment, and I remember the vision boards, and so I would do those things with them because there's so many things that get taken away when you're in the prison system. My gifts, my purpose, my identity, all of that gets ripped away from me. And so then when I enter back into society, now I got to figure out who is Albert, what do I like, what's my favorite thing, what are my attributes, all of those. Now you have to figure those things out in society, and also walk around with this label that says, for me, mine was larceny. So it's like I have this label, and I was like, God, listen, I just want my life back. I don't care about nothing. And then have to explain, well, what is larceny? For white people to not know what larceny is, no offense, Gail, it was like, well, what is that? And it's just like, I was a thief. So when I would put down on the application, it's like, well, what is larceny? And it was just like, well, I had, stole some money. So having that label where when you go get a job, then they have to think like, well, is she going to steal from us? Is she going to commit larceny? So it's like that thing. So just working was something that I needed to do because I had 2 children at the time. So I needed a job. And so as soon as you give off the inkling that you've done something, then that's when they fire you, and you're right back into that whole system. And so one of the things that I know is when you're about to get released here in Colorado, I don't know how it works anywhere else, but once you get released, you are already into a probation house. Okay. Before you even step into the house, you already owe money. Already at the gate, as soon as you walk into a probation, you already owe money. So it's like, I think, and I said, well, how are you going to pay for that? And this is my mindset, is like, well, how y'all going to pay for that? You ain't even got no job. They don't give you any kind of like, I mean, I think they give you kind of like a little stipend here in Colorado when you get out. They only give you a certain amount, but then you have to go through all these rules. You got to go get a job by this time. You got to be in the house by this time. You got to do this and you got to do that. You can't be too far away from the probation house. And if you are, where are you going? And it was, and I'm just looking at them like, oh, to be free, my God. But even in my freedom, I'm still bound.
Mhm.
So I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, well, actually, when I do move to North Carolina, I'm actually and this is only because I don't know. I didn't want to do it, but Tara was like, "Nah, I think you should do that." I'm about to get into peer recovery.
My daughter was cleaning up and she knocked over my contacts. It's okay. But go ahead. Uh-oh, what happened? What's going on? Why am I the only one whose face is up here? He just left us.
Albert's back.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Oop, his face is gone.
I can hear you though.
Okay.
No, so I was saying I'm about to get into some counseling with peer recovery.
Ooh.
So it's peer recovery and it's people with mental health issues.
So you're getting certified in that?
Yes.
Okay. Well, we need it.
Well, I guess it's all a part of I guess at the end of the day, I mean, I put so much bad out into the universe from my years. It's only right that I put good, into it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we honor you. I honor you for that part because I know when I went to jail, one of the things that I had told God was, and they know my story. I told God, I'm not praying for you people. I'm not doing it. Not praying for them. And then the very thing I didn't want to do in the world, he was like, well, you're gonna have to do it in jail. So when I went to jail for that 30 days, like, oh my goodness. So I ended up having to do that in jail. So when I got out, well, then while I was in jail, I created this ministry called For Real Ministries. And I created it because I'm just real. Like, I'm never gonna sugarcoat nothing. I'm authentic. This is me. I'm an open book. You want to know something about me? I'm gonna tell you. I might tell you, not tell you everything, but I think I'll tell you what you need to know in that moment. But it's just me being real. Like, I'm never going to change who I am. So I ended up creating a newsletter, sending it off to the women and doing all that other stuff. So we have a purpose in the things that we go through. So there's always a purpose as to why you went through the things that you went through in order to be able to see that there's a need. That is why, and we were talking about that earlier, where there's a lesson in everything. So life is a lesson and it teaches you that thing that needs to be filled. And so it's like there's this void within the prison system where you see it and the mental health part of it. And so you are there to really authentically fill the void of that area where you live, or just in the world is what it said, is in the world. So we're all here to fill in the gap or of a purpose, of a reason why certain things happen to us. And it's just like with all of us. We've all gone through something and we've learned the lesson, and now we get to see that there's a need for it, and we fill in the gap for that. So as the other world turns is amazing.
Yeah, it is. So I'm continuing my journey.
So
And,
when you say, I'm sorry, I'm because I'm nosy, but I have the question. When you say as the other world turns, is it the other world in the prison system or the other world in when you get free?
whatever world we're tapping into, like, so we have to understand something that, for example, so like I was saying, okay, so you inside prison, that's the world that you know.
Okay.
It's the world that you know.
Right.
However, once you step out the prison world, there are many different worlds that there are out there to tap into and to learn about what's going on within those worlds.
Okay.
You know, so for me, when I came home, my biggest thing was I was talking about the prison industry when it comes to how they make their money. Okay, coupled with big pharma, pharmaceutical company, they get astronomically rich off the prison system
because they claim that the mental part of it.
Yes. So there's a lot going on, but then when you see how the people that are truly affected by mental health, how they're dealt with, they're not being dealt with like they have mental health issues. They're being dealt with like they're savages, and they're not. You know, even the guy that even fits the quote unquote, you know, look of a savage or whatever, you know, even he's worth the time to try to save.
Yeah.
That's right. You know what I'm saying to you? You know, I just had about 3 months ago, I had a friend that just came home and he did 32 years. And was having a hard time with readjusting.
Can you imagine that? I've dealt with that where it's hard to readjust in something that I've been programmed. I've been so programmed for 32 years. I have been programmed to get up at this time, to eat this, to do this, to go to your cell, to do this. Don't do that. Don't do. I've been so programmed. And so to get out and to be free, when the Bible tells us whom the Son sets free is free indeed, but how do I become free after I've been in the system that has me so locked down? What does that look like for an individual? I've been in prison for 32 years. What is freedom? I'm out. But am I really out?
Am I really out? That's the question.
Am I really out? So I love that you're doing that because it makes them the mind. It's your mind is so twisted with how the prison system laws have created you to think that you're really not free. And then you get out here, and this is where the repeat offenders come from. They programmed me to where I really can't acclimate to being free, that I'm just going to go back and repeat the same thing because I know that I'll have a bed, I'll have housing, I don't have to worry about getting a job, I don't have to worry about rent, I don't have to worry about anything. So rather than me be free for real, let me just go back out here. So I honor this part of what you're doing because it puts you into the community. It puts you out there with people to really show them, Albert, that you can be free, that you don't have to go back and repeat the same thing over and over again because that it's like I call it comfortably uncomfortable. You're comfortably uncomfortable. So you'll just be in this situation. And so for me, I want to make you uncomfortable. I want to make you so uncomfortable that you're just gonna be like, this, I don't like this no more. So now how can we change that? How can we change your mindset to make you be free? Because if you're free, then you don't have to be free, and you be free mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially. Let's be free because we all have gifts. We all have something. And I remember telling my people, you have 3 things that you like to do. 2 of them are bound to make you some money. 2 of them. I love to talk. Okay. That's my thing. I love to talk. So I know at some point this is going to make me some money. Right. But I didn't know that then because there was no one to teach me to say, okay, so by nature, I'm a teacher. I'm going to teach you the laws. I'm going to teach you the word. I'm going to teach you life. So if I know that that's going to, let me work that. So now at 51, I'm working it. But when you get these individuals now, Albert, that are coming out, it's like, let me teach, what is something that you like to do? Find those attributes and let's use that to make you some money. So that you can really be free and not have to worry about laying your head somewhere or going out to the streets and then repeating the same offense to go right back into jail to be comfortably uncomfortable.
True. True. So I mean, I like to speak also. I love to talk. You know, but also, like I was saying earlier on the podcast, sometimes I let my emotions get the best. You know, when I think about issues that has arisen lately, and I was talking about how it angers me how people act like they don't have a right to speak up. You have a right to speak up. I get you to believe whatever. No, free speech still does exist. It's just a matter of how you convey it. That's the key.
Yeah. We talked about one time in group changing, I think it was in one of our Sunday sessions, like changing your vernacular. When you think about coming from the street, we had a certain vernacular that we would use in the street. But then when we get in a different setting, we have to be able to change the vernacular to where people understand exactly what I'm saying to you. And I'm being able to speak my truth. Bible says, speak the truth in love. So let me be able to speak my truth and do it in such a way that you, when I serve you the plate, that you'll be able to see each and every part of what I'm telling you. So changing the vernacular, teaching them how to change the vernacular of how they're speaking. Because like you said, off the rip in 60 seconds, I can let it loose. You could be all kinds of, I mean, I'll go deep down into the verbiage of what it was. But you know, I remember Oprah saying, if those are the only words that you can use, that says so much about what you, if you have to use those words, it says so much about what's going on in the inside of you. And I thought, well, how do I change the words? So changing the words means changing what I'm eating. Not so much as physical, but the spiritual part. What am I eating spiritually that I can use a big word and it'll make you think like, what? And I tell people, look it up. Because if you don't know what I said, just look it up. I will eat the word. I will look in a dictionary and my thing is I'll hear a word and be like, what does that mean? So when you're changing the vernacular of how you're speaking, yes, then I can speak my truth and give it to you in such a way that it'll hurt you and you didn't even know you just got hurt.
Yeah.
You know, so that's your objective within this as the other world turns, giving the people, using the passion, but changing the vernacular to let them know that, yeah, you have the power. Because if the Bible tells us death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those that eat it eat the fruits thereof. So every time you're speaking a thing, you're eating that fruit. Whether it's good or bad, you're eating that fruit. So change your vernacular to something that's going to be good, but also speaking the truth and saying, because it also talks about in Proverbs that if a fool is talking and if I come back at you, I become like a fool. I'm not going to be foolish with you. So that means that I have to be able to change the Proverbs. Change the way I'm talking to you in order for me to be wise. To be more wise than you are in that thing. Because if I come and you know how we do that you see the people arguing over in TikTok and they arguing over Facebook and they banging, I'm going back I'm not going to become a fool. Let me just be silent. But also for me, changing the vernacular and what I'm saying to you so that you can get it Because going back and forth, like you said, in that 60 seconds, I could be a plumb fool. But let me just be grown up in this and just tell you how I feel. I'm going to get to the root of it, and then I'm going to keep it pushing. And sometimes I don't even need to say nothing to you.
True.
You know?
True.
So I love this as the world turns. I love this as the other world turns. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you be interested in, the second and fourth Sunday or the first or third?
Doesn't matter to me.
So we'll put you down for the second and fourth. Okay.
Okay.
So the second and fourth. So the link, it doesn't change, and again, until I change it. And then you can invite your friend. What's your friend's name? What's his name? You don't want to tell us name? You don't have to tell us. Keep it. You can keep it to
No.
yourself.
No. It's not that. It's just I don't know how he would introduce himself, but I call him Breeze.
Breeze, like a cool breeze.
Yeah.
Well, we can
But people call him Billy.
Billy.
Yeah.
Okay. So we can set up a time where we meet, you, me, and Billy, where we can all meet, the three of us, and we can kind of talk about the narrative of what it would look like with DWL and you guys kind of coming together. And if you guys have some topics you guys want to talk about, where we can talk about topics on really here, it's just pretty much the relationships. I think that's what the women were really looking for. And whatever else, if you guys have something you guys want to talk about, bring to the table. So if we could set up a meeting there, like via Zoom, where we can kind of navigate what that would look like on the second and fourth Sunday. I do not have a problem with handing over the reins and letting y'all do what you do. So I'm really, for me too, I'm based word. I'm not going to just be here just going back and forth, but I'm going to give you word in the midst of it. So as you can see, I'm going to give you word. So if we can do that in the setting, give word, back it up with the word, things like that. So I don't have a problem. And I think this would be good for all of us,
I believe so too. I wasn't expecting this, you know what I'm saying? But
I just move how God tells me, whatever God kind of
hey,
where he lets me breeze into. No, I'm saying, so wherever he lets me flow, wherever the flow goes, is I just go with that flow. And I allow God to do what he needs to do. And if this is something that we all need in this time, think about Esther. Remember when Mordecai told her, you think you just went into the palace just because you're pretty? No, you went in for such a time as this, because you got to save your people. So when we think about that, it's okay, now we got to save the people. But how do we do that? We have a problem, Esther. And what's the solution to the problem? So us coming together as, man and woman, male and female, masculine and feminine, kind of rising to that and helping us see the other side from some real women and not these little girls outside.
That's right.
sounds good to me.
Well, we appreciate you, Albert, for coming in, sharing yourself with us today, being vulnerable with women you don't even know. We thank you.
That's the story of my life. All right.
We appreciate you.
I appreciate you too also. If I happen to go back on with the podcast before I leave, which I think I might end up doing, because once I leave Jersey, they won't see me for a while. So I think I might just go on one more time before I leave, and I'll let Tara know to let you know.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you, sir.
All right then.
You have a good rest of your day.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Albert. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Great day.